welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a bit of a different video, and it's how I saved £26,000 in 18 months to buy our first home. Now, this is going to be my own personal tip, so there's going to be things in here that you haven't heard anywhere else, just things that I did myself. I haven't taken it from anywhere else or read books or, you know, watched other YouTubers or anything like that. So this is all things that I've personally done myself to enable us to buy our first house within 18 months. So me and my husband, we started saving last March, which is March 2018. That was when we definitely sort of set our minds to it. We had talked about it in the past, much like probably many of you out there have. You know, you talk about it and you think, yeah, maybe sometime in the future. But March last year was when we actually sat down and said, right, this is something that we both want. Now, I'm self-employed, so buying a home was really important to me because it was almost like a secondary pension, if you like, to ensure that in later life I would have somewhere to live that was hopefully going to be mortgage free. Now, I have got some notes, so I will be glancing down at my phone at times. So my tip number one is make a goal. Now, I don't just mean sort of sit there and say, well, I would quite like to spend £200,000 on a house, or 250 or 300,000 or wherever. I mean, go online, go on Rightmove, go on Zoopla, everything like that, and look at actual houses that you would like to buy. I know that obviously you guys out there are probably going to be like, oh, let's go look at £500,000 houses. No, I mean, be sensible about it. Take a look at flats, houses, bungalows, land, park homes, whatever it is that you want. Take a look and see how much they're going for, because when I did this I was shocked at how much houses had gone up. Now, I had looked previously in about 2015 just to kind of look, you know, when I first went self-employed, I knew in my head that I wanted to buy our first home. However, at the time we just didn't have the money to even start to save. So definitely ensure that, you know, you're not playing out of your league or you're not playing under your league, because there are many of you out there that can think I can afford probably nothing, and yet you probably can. So be aware and go online and look up actual houses that are for sale now. Also, a nice little tip that the Rightmove app does is that it lets you see how much previous homes have sold for. Now, if there's a particular road that you like or that you live round or something like that, try typing that road into Google, because it will actually come up with previously sold homes. Just essentially make sure that you take a look and you educate yourself as to, you know, how much homes go for in your area or an area you would like to live. Tip number two is change your mindset. Now, I know that sometimes our family and friends might laugh at us, or they might not believe that we can do it, but at the end of the day, it's your life, and I know for a fact that if you put your mind to it, you can definitely save the money that you need to buy your first home. Now, it doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks or anything like that. If you want to buy your first home, you absolutely can. It doesn't matter that it's not going to be a 5-bedroom house or anything like that. It's yours, you bought it. At the end of the day, it's your dream and you do what you can. But I understand that it is difficult when all of your friends and family around you don't support you. I get that 100%. They do say that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So maybe just take a look around and think, well, if the people that I'm not spending time with aren't supportive of my dream of buying my first home and saving up this whole wad of money, then maybe you need to take notice of that and maybe have a chat with them, or just basically don't tell them. Just, you know, try and do it on your own, or, you know, just try and be your own best friend when it comes to people like that in your life. Tip number 3, which is probably the most important one in my mind, and this is something that I did, and what I did, which sounds a little bit extreme, but I went through my main bank account. I have a business bank account and my personal bank account, and I went through my personal one, my current account, or basically the current account, or the account, if you like, that you spend the most money from. And I personally went through that. I went through the last year, so I did this in March 2018. I went all the way back to March 2017, and I basically made a spreadsheet and I categorized my spending for the entire year. It took me a good 3-4 hours to go through every single bit, but I must say it opened my eyes so much, because You may not think, you know, that weekly visit to Primark where you spend 20 to 40 pounds isn't doing much damage, but over the course of the year, that is a heck of a lot of money. So just for example, I'm just going to sit here and work it out just so you know, you will realise what I mean. So if you go to Primark every week and you spend £40, that's £2,000 basically. That's £2,000 a year that you are spending on stuff from Primark. Now, go into your bedroom, into your closet and have a look and see if you even still have half of that stuff, because I guarantee that probably at least half of it is either gone to the charity shop or to the dump or something like that, or broken, or just things that you don't generally use anymore. So this is an exercise that I really implore you to do yourself. Go through, categorize things by food out, clothes, makeup for girls, obviously shoes, shirts, clothes for guys. Maybe you like to go and get your hair cut and coloured every week, every month. Just make sure that you go through and categorize your spending. And this exercise is all about being aware of how you spend your money, because, you know, Apple Pay and contactless makes us less aware of what we're spending. It hurts a lot less to tap a card on a reader than it does to hand over physical cash. And another little tip off of this as well is that if you find this really difficult, i.e. you have an Apple Watch or have Apple Pay or contactless or things like that, stop using them. If you find that you can't control your spending and it's £3 here, £5 there, £8 there, stop using them. Go and withdraw the cash and make sure that you put it in an envelope so that, you know, your food out budget for the week is in this envelope. And trust me, it's a lot more painful handing over £20 in cash than just tapping your card. Now, tip number 4 is to make a budget, and that seems obvious, and you've probably, you know, if you're watching this video, you've probably done it already or you've thought about doing it, but what I mean is that you have to make a budget that works around your lifestyle, because I do find that a lot of people that I speak to, or friends and family, they make a budget and they cut everything out. You know, they're either too strict or too lenient, and you have to make a budget that is around your lifestyle. Now, I'm not saying you have to cut out Costa coffees every week or anything like that. Basically, you just have to make sure that you make a budget that suits your lifestyle. So how I recommend doing this is to look at your current lifestyle. So if you've gone back and you've looked at the past years of your spending, you know what your habits are as a spender. Now, if you like to eat out as opposed to buying clothes, or you like to buy clothes as opposed to eating out, you know that making a budget to cut both of those things out, or if you're a foodie and you cut eating out completely out of your life, that's not going to work. I know looking at it on Excel or on a sheet of paper or however you're doing your budget, it seems like a really good idea, but trust me, you will have those rubbish days where all you want is to have a Indian takeaway or go to Chiquitos and eat your body weight in fajitas, because trust me, you will have those days. But with a sensible budget, you can always work around that. So how I suggest you do this is to split your budget or your spending into various pots. So for example, me and my husband, we had a food out account slash fun pot, which is basically, you know, frivolous spending, if you like. So if you want to go and have a Cornish pasty, you can. If you want to go and buy that top, all those nice shoes or socks that you've seen, that is what that account is for. You then have a bills and, you know, important adult stuff account. You know, it's just things like water bill, sewage bill, heating, food, rent slash mortgage, whatever you're paying. You know, just make sure that you account and over account as well. Don't do it by the penny. Make sure that you round things up just to account for any mishaps or if you get overcharged. Then I also have a travel account. So if you have a car, you know, this would be my car account. So it's the money that I put in for fuel. I budget my MOTs a year in advance, so I make sure that I split up my last MOT bill at about 10% for the next year, you know, to account for inflation and things like that. And I put that in every month in a separate account. That's car tax, tyres, fuel. You know, when you actually do this and break it down, you do realise how much cars actually cost you. It doesn't seem like a lot at the time, but when you break down, you know, the tax and the MOT and the maintenance costs of a car, you do actually sit back and think, damn, that car's costing me a lot of money. But yeah, So definitely put things aside for your car or your mode of transport, whether it's bus, taxi, Uber, and basically just go through and categorize your spendings, but make sure that you make physical pots or physical accounts. Now, I bank with Lloyds, so I can go onto Lloyds and open up an e-saver, and you can have, I'm pretty sure, as many of them as you like. I've got about 25 different e-saver accounts open right now, and they vary from a holiday account to a food out account to a haircut account to new makeup account, a new camera account, you know, all these different accounts that I make for myself so that I know that every week or every month, however you pay yourself, you're gradually, slowly but surely putting money in those pots. And definitely when you're saving a huge amount of money, such as to buy your first home, it's definitely easier to kind of know where your money is being spent and have an account or accounts set aside for all those things that you would like to spend your money on in a week or in a month. Now, in this budget, please just make sure that you don't restrict yourself too much. As I said before, you will have down days, you know, you will just want to go out and spend some money, so make sure that you have a fun pot, and also make sure that you have a buffer pot or like a curveball account, because life is life and adulting sucks and it's hard, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be any good if you haven't got enough in your car account and your tyre blows or your washing machine blows up and you haven't got any money set aside. So I definitely put aside, you know, a little bit of money every week or month just to make sure that you're accounting for those life's little mishaps that love to show their faces, especially when you commit to saving for your first home, for example. Tip number 6, which is something that I definitely did, and I probably overdid it to be fair, is that I read books. Now, I can list my book recommendations below, that's absolutely fine, but I did read so many books, and personal finance books and building wealth books, and basically all the money books that I could possibly get my hands on, I did, and I read them, you know, most nights. I was a little bit obsessed with it. But basically just educate yourself, whether that's reading books or watching YouTube videos or reading blog posts. Just make sure that you know, educate yourself around the topic of money. I don't know about you guys, but this was something that was never taught to me in schools. I don't think it's being taught a large amount now. It's an epidemic in my mind. You know, I would love to be able to, you know, implore all of you out there to just at least educate yourself and make up for the lack of education that perhaps none of us had when we were younger regarding money and budgets and things like that. Tip number 7 is go back through your last 30 days of your account. Now, you might have done this if you had gone back to my last tip and looked through your past year's spending, but what I want you to do is to open up your last 30 days of your statement and just sit with it. Just look at it and really investigate in your mind as to what each transaction meant to you. That might sound a little bit wonky, but bear with me. So if you sit there and you're looking at a transaction for Boots or Superdrug and you bought, you know, a foundation, mascara, eyeshadow palette that came to £40, let's say, really sit with that and have a look and think about the physical items in your hand. Did they bring you joy? Do you have them still now? Do you use them and cherish them every day? If you do, that's fantastic. In my mind, that's money well spent. However, if you're like me and you bought that foundation a shade too dark and it's just sat in your drawer, that's a lesson for next time you go into Boots or Superdrug or a makeup outlet of some kind. Think twice and think, well, I've wasted £40 on, you know, makeup that I don't use or a foundation that's too dark, and just make sure that you think about things first. Maybe instead of trying something new, pick up something that you know works for you and, you know, you can work with on a daily basis and that brings you joy and makes you happy. Because there are so many instances where we all spend money to try and make ourselves feel better, but then a month down the line we look at that money that's come out of our account and so many of us don't even remember what it was for. You know, we sit there, and I've done it, you sit there and you're thinking, who the heck has taken £50 out of my account? I don't even remember what that was for. Then it comes to you and you're thinking, oh, I would have rather have spent that money on a nice meal out for myself and my friends or family. So it does take some thinking, and, you know, just sit with what you've spent and see if it makes you feel good. You know, if you feel pressure in your chest or you don't feel happy about what you spent that day or that transaction, it obviously means that that didn't sit well with you, and just remember that the next time you're in that shop or at the shops in general, or before you spend. However, on the flip side of this, if you, for example, went into Lush and bought your favourite bath bomb and you remember putting it in the bag and smelling it and being really excited to use it, and you got home, used it, and you felt amazing, and it was £4.50, that was money well spent because it brought you joy. Now, I'm not saying go and do that every single day, but that was money well spent, and hey, £4.50, and it brought you half an hour's worth of joy having a nice bubble bath. So I'm not all about, you know, cutting everything out, but I am about spending money in a way that is smart and that brings you joy. Tip number 8 is to go through your last 30 days of transactions on your most recent current account, or the account that you use the most to pay for, you know, general things, and just see if you are paying for anything that you don't need. Oh my goodness, when I did this, I was shocked because I thought I was pretty good at money and finances, but I was paying for subscriptions that I wasn't using. So for example, I had a Audible subscription that I had forgotten about, that I had just let run for 12 months. I had 12 credits in my account that I never ever used. Now, I ended up pausing it for a few months just so I could use up the 12 ebooks that I was essentially owed, but there are so many subscriptions that we just miss in our everyday lives, so definitely go through and make sure that you aren't paying for things that you don't use anymore. Tip number 9 is taking a look at your debt. Now, most of us, you know, modern millennials, we all have some kind of debt. We all have car payments or something, or credit cards, or a laptop that we're paying for monthly, or a phone contract. Any kind of contracts, or, you know, hire purchase, or something like that, or you're paying monthly for something that you have in your household. Now, I am not a fan of debt. I have never had a car on finance or anything like that. I had a phone contract a few years ago, but I made sure to cancel that off. So definitely tackle the smaller things first. So for example, if you have a phone or a laptop on credit, approach the people that hold your credit and see if you can pay it off early, because you might be paying a lot of interest on that loan. So basically just make sure that you go through all of the credit and the debt that you have and make sure that you're not paying more. If it's 0% interest, can you afford just to pay it off and just get it over and done with? Because once you're in that saving mindset, it's a lot easier not having that monthly amount come out of your account. Now, especially for phone contracts, you might be surprised. You know, you might go into your service provider and they might say, nope, that's fine, there's no, you know, early exit fees at all. This is something that I do say for a lot of people to do, is to, you know, take a look at your phone and think, you know, can I live with the next iPhone down, or, you know, an iPhone that's 2-3 years old? I certainly do. Do you have to have the newest phone every year? Probably not. Maybe think about buying your phone or the same phone outright and doing a 30-day SIM-only phone contract. For example, I used to pay £28 a month, weird amount, £28 a month for my phone contract. I ended up buying my iPhone 6s Plus 3 years ago now for £250. I then pay £9 a month for a Virgin SIM-only contract, and that's literally all I pay every month. And I'm so glad that I did, because essentially I own the phone, and if I break it, I break it, but I'm very careful with it, as probably are you. And that comes on to another aspect as well, and that is, do you need insurances? Do you need phone insurances, laptop insurances, all these insurances that we all have? And you have to sit back and think, is it covered on my house insurance? Because I bet a lot of you out there, you know, when you're buying that new camera or phone or laptop or TV or anything like that, you just say, oh yeah, you know, I'm a klutz, I need to make sure that I put the insurance on it. Do you need it? Is it covered under your house insurance? Because I bet you bottom dollar, a lot of the insurances that you have in your home are already covered. So don't overpay and don't overcover yourself, but make sure that you check that with your individual insurance provider. Basically, to sum up that point, is to make sure that you cut off or pay off or get out of any, you know, contracts or debt as much as you can before you dive into saving for a house. Because believe me, it's a lot easier not having that monthly amount being taken out of your account, and then you have a clear cut idea of, you know, how much you have left to spend. And essentially, once you've got rid of that debt and cleared it, That's money every month that you have that you can put into your savings pot for your new home. Tip number 10 is to be prepared. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, a lot of you out there that go to work every day, you know, you either work full-time, part-time, whatever, you go to college or school or uni. Do you go out for lunches every day? Because I bet some of you out there, you do. You either get coffee or you get a bagel or you get lunch or what have you. Start preparing your meals at home. Now, I know that this can be a bit dreary and you've probably heard it all before, but make it fun. Learn a new skill. Go on YouTube or take a course on how to cook your favorite type of cuisine. Make them for your lunches. Not only is it healthier, you save money, and if you have any allergies or things like that, you can make your food exactly how you want it at home. This is something that I definitely did. I used to go out for Costa Coffee lunches probably 2-3 times a week. Once I cut those down, I saved like £15 a week. It was insane. So definitely go back through and see what you spend your money on a daily or weekly basis and see if you can make food and meals at home. This is also pretty good with drinks and things as well. If you have a morning coffee on your way to work through the Starbucks drive-through or something like that, get one of those, you know, stainless steel mugs that you can make your coffee in at home and take it in your car. It will save you £4 to £5, and believe me, they are a godsend when you're struggling for a coffee and you're stuck in a traffic jam. Tip 11 is be gradual. Be gentle with yourself. If you've never been one for doing a budget before and you've always just spent what you spend because you can afford to, be gentle with yourself. This is like a diet, you know, enjoy it as well, but please just go easy on yourself. Spending money perhaps in the way that you have been before is maybe like a sugar addiction that you have to kick. You can't just go cold turkey and expect everything to be hunky-dory, because your inner child will just go nuts and want to buy the lunch and the coffee and the new top or shoes. But definitely be gentle with yourself and be gradual. Introduce this over the course of a month. Don't just wake up tomorrow and say, right, I'm not going to spend anything for the next week, because that's not going to work. Start cutting it down gradually, and much like a diet, you will enjoy it more and you'll fit it in as a lifestyle change rather than a money diet. Tip number 12 is gonna probably hit home for quite a lot of you. Are you being paid enough for the work that you do? This might be something that you probably know deep down, but are you staying at your job or your source of income, we'll just call it, because you enjoy it or because you're just being paid, you know, an okay wage, or because it's near your home or you're comfortable? Just please make sure that you are being paid enough for what you do. I know so many people in my friendship circle that are amazing at what they do. However, they just stay where they are because they're comfortable. You know, they know the people. They don't want to get outside of their comfort zone and see what else is out there. Do a quick Google search and see how much people usually get paid for the industry that you're in, and see if you could increase the amount that you bring in every month, because believe me, you might be shocked and surprised and see that you are actually being underpaid. Now, I know leaving your job and changing jobs is never an easy thing, and I'm not just saying go in tomorrow and quit your job, but educate yourself and make sure that you know how much you are worth. And it could be worth just having a chat with your boss or your employer and saying, look, you know, I'm saving for a home. You probably understand what that's like. It's really hard. I need to be earning X, Y, Z. I've looked online and I can go and get a job in the next town over which earns £2,000, £5,000 a year more. Is there anything we can do? And you might be able to come to an agreement. Tip 13 is to include your friends and family. Now, I know I said it at the beginning of the video, if they're not supportive, maybe just go it alone. But if you get any kind of support from your family and friends, definitely get them involved, because if you're going for dinner with friends every single week, inform them that, hey guys, I am saving for a house now, can we just go for a drink instead? You know, definitely, you don't have to stop seeing your friends or stop going out at all. In fact, I do not recommend doing that. I did that the first 2-3 months of us saving for our first home, and it was a killer because I just didn't see anybody. You know, I work from home. If I don't go out, that's it, I'm stuck at home. So just make sure that you're sensible about it. Get them involved, make it fun, you know, make it a bit of a game. See how little you can spend on a night out, or go down the pub with your friends and see what the cheapest drink is or cheapest beer is. You know, it can actually be quite fun to be frugal and not spend a great deal. But definitely get them involved, let them know, just so it's not a surprise while they're sat there having their 3-course meal while you're just sat there with a glass of tap water. Just make sure that you inform them and that they are on board. Also as well, you could have your friends around to your own place, have a movie night, DVD night, games night, something like that. You know, there are lots of creative ways that you can meet people and still socialise for free or for very little money. Tip number 14 is make a list. What I mean by this is make a free list. So make a list of all the things around you, all the things that you enjoy doing that are free or cost very little money. We did this and it was a godsend, because at the beginning of our saving money house buying journey, it was so hard because we just assumed that if you didn't have any money you just couldn't have fun. That's genuinely what we thought. So what I did is I sat down and I made a long list of all the things that were around us that were free, like going for a walk on the beach, or going to see a film that was, you know, 2 for 1 day, or like a deal that they had that only cost us, I think, £3.50 each per film that we watched. Just make sure that you put things on your list that are free, that are accessible to you, that you actually genuinely enjoy. You might actually really enjoy going for a walk through the forest or the beach, or there may even be free events around you that are on at your local park, or fetes or craft fairs or things like that, so you can just go to and spend a lovely afternoon out. This is definitely easier when the sun is out and it's nice weather, so in the summer, the world's your oyster. There are lots of free things to do. In the winter you might need to get a little bit more creative, let's say, and just do other things, you know, play board games and have movie nights, and maybe have fun making paintings, or try a new skill, or go on YouTube and learn to speak Spanish, or learn to play an instrument with a friend, or have fun with it. Tip number 15, which is the last tip, is to start a side hustle. Now, I am an Etsy shop YouTuber. I love to help people to open up side hustles, to make them even into a full-time job at some point maybe, but I definitely implore you to get a side hustle. Now, what you could do is start an online shop if you're good at art. You know, you could make t-shirt decals or designs and sell them online, but definitely have a look into whether you could do something part-time online at home. You could become an Avon rep. You know, there are lots of different things that you can do. I have so many videos on my channel about starting up an Etsy shop. That is definitely something that I tell all my friends, you know, hey, if you want to earn extra money on the side, I know for a fact that all of you out there have a skill or can create something that people want to buy. If you want to learn about Etsy or anything like that, subscribe to my channel, go watch my other videos. I have so much free information about starting an Etsy shop. So guys, I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Good luck on your journey. I know you can do it and you will do fantastically. I hope you liked this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up and I'll see you guys later. Bye!